Hey, everybody, it's Tisha, and you are tuning in to Tisha Talks Live. Happy last Friday of January. We got this one in. I'm super excited to have my special guest, Khrystian Veals, joining me today. And today we're going to be talking about the alignment method. So if you are out of alignment, you're in the right place. If you are in alignment, you're in the right place. If you have questions about alignment, then Khrystian is the gal to talk to you about that. But before we get started, a couple of quick announcements. If you're tuning into this on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, hello, welcome. Great to have you. Tisha Talks is a show that I started probably about 2 years ago, and I interview entrepreneurs and cool people all around the globe and just get their insights and their gems to share with you. And if you're in the Phoenix area, I have a couple of things coming up. Some of you may have followed my journey. I do have my event coming up. It is now simplified, and I know Khrystian and I can actually talk about this too in our topic, but Social Connect Simplified is coming up next Tuesday, January 30th from 4 to 6 at Courthouse in Chandler, my favorite spot, especially because it's a local business, lots of room to spread out. You can even bring your doggies because they have a dog park. And then socialconnect.world is actually the platform where you can go ahead and introduce yourself, start a member profile, meet all sorts of cool people. It's where I'll be doing most of my communicating and sharing of events coming up. So you make sure that you get into socialconnect.world and say hi. All right, next up, I do a lot of community events, and coming up on February 27th, I'll release some details coming next, but we are teaming up with Midwest Food Bank out in Mesa and lending a hand. So friends, family, kids even, welcome to support the local nonprofit and help us just pack food bags for local homeless shelters and so forth. So that's coming up. You'll find more details as I release that, but save the date, February 27th. All right, so we like to do a dance party. I love Fridays. I was telling Khrystian, I was like, I just ease into my Friday and I'm like, gosh, I love this. I love that I get to have a dance party, hang out with all of you folks, talk to amazing guests. But of course, we start off with a little bit of a dance. So I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Go ahead and get your dancing shoes on and we'll be right back with Khrystian. Welcome back, everybody. Good to have you. I see Khrystian in the background just dancing and clapping, and she is ready, folks. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? All right. So again, if you're tuning in, I see some folks joining us on Facebook. Hello. Don't be a stranger. Say hi. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Khrystian to the stage. Khrystian is the founder of Status Quo Breaker Agency out here in Phoenix. And I met her at one of the LinkedIn local events, and she's also come to some Social Connect events as well. And today we're going to be talking about the alignment method, which is one of my favorite topics. And I think, Khrystian, I shared with you that even last year, alignment was my word of the year. And it served me so well in setting me up every single year. I highly recommend it. If you do not have a word of the year, alignment, make that your word.
No, for sure. And you inspired me to have that be my word of the year this year.
Yay. Awesome. I love it because I don't know about you, but I know when I'm out of alignment. I know when I'm taking on too much and I feel stretched and I'm not calm and I'm under pressure. And when we get into alignment, wow, that's like magic, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think a lot of people have the language for not being in alignment. Like, it just looks like you don't want to wake up. And, like I had read this article from a survey they did with American Express with 2,000 small business owners. And they had said that 50% of small business owners had reported being depressed within the last year, and 65% had reported being having chronic anxiety. And that's kind of how it presents. It doesn't present like, oh, I'm out of alignment. It presents like you are just not happy,
Yeah.
in family and in personally or professionally. But that's
Mm-hmm.
like the key to knowing that it's not that, it's little signs. Oh, I don't want to wake up. Let me hit the alarm. Oh, I'm going to eat this whole chocolate cake. That's my,
Right.
I'm going to eat all the cake.
Okay, chocolate cake girl. I'm a chocolate cake girl too.
Right?
But I'm choosing not to eat the whole cake.
100%. It looks like that. Whatever your vice is, if it's sleeping late, if it's Netflix binges, that's what out of alignment looks like. You're wasting your time. You just don't want to do anything.
Yeah. Alignment for me last year, it really is like a litmus test, if you will, because I was working with a client and I felt like our values were not in alignment. And I really had to sit back because, you could sit here and go, oh, well, but they're a paying client. And I'm like, yeah, but values, ethics really go a long way with me. And if we are not in alignment, or if they're doing something that I'm really, really not comfortable with, I want off the ship. So I made a very big choice to actually let that client go to make room for things that better served me. And that actually turned out to be the best decision. And I'm not stressed. I'm not going through, oh my gosh, I just don't want to work with these people anymore. It was absolutely something that needed to happen. And that's why I was saying that alignment really served me well in that purpose to say, what do I want? And does this feel good to me? And is it in alignment with even my values and my ethics?
100%. I could totally see that. And a lot of times people get caught up in that and like chasing the bag or like wanting to chase the title of like, it doesn't even have to be small business owners, but like even in corporate America, oh, I want to be the executive, I want to be the CEO, but they're just chasing external, what is your value place, like chasing external validation. And then you
Yeah.
got to look deeper on why you feel compelled to be out of alignment like that. Like, what are you sacrificing in that way? Like one time I read a book called When the Body Says No, like, so people think you're getting away with it, right? But you crash out. You absolutely crash out health wise. You're always sick or you're always tired. Something happens. You don't get away with like betraying yourself. And that's how I look at being out of alignment.
That's a really good point. I love that you said that when your body says no, because I remember years ago, Khrystian, I was working nonstop. I did not have balance at all in my life. I was just like going through the motions and working and having like 3 businesses running simultaneously. I didn't have any balance. I didn't have any harmony. And I remember getting really sick, like the sickest I've ever been. And and just to that point, like I was just sick last week, and your body is telling you, take a breath, take it easy, go lay down, pack on those fluids, and just relax. And sometimes so many of us are just like, we got to work through it. We got to work through it. We got to work through it. And then what ends up happening? You mentioned that there are 2 B's. I want to specifically talk about one of those B's, burnout. Like that to me is what happens when you just keep moving and you don't heed the warnings that you're getting, your body's telling you.
100%. I truly believe being out of alignment leads to only 2 B's, and it's bankruptcy or burnout. Like literally,
Yeah.
you'll be financially bankrupt, morally bankrupt, as you just mentioned, with working with everybody, right? Like, because not everybody is built the same. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, or you'll be like healthily burnout, and I think why that happens is because I don't know, if this is too woo woo, but there's like a frequency, like there's an energy level that is finite, if that makes sense. The finite energy level, and when your energy is so low because you're not happy, you cannot attract good to you. Like it's almost like a force field around you that prevents you from being happy with your family. It's like it's a cascade. You're tired, so you're watching Netflix. You need personal time. Your kids don't get you that often, right? And then that leads you to feel guilty, right? Which leads you in another cycle. And that's just how it happens, like personally, to burnout. Because it impacts your whole life. If you're stressed out financially, your family's going to feel that. Or your relationship's going to feel that. That it destroys like everything around you when you don't do this simple thing of always honoring yourself. And I want to know that is not easy. Like bro, like bro. Alignment, let me tell you, it's agony. It's absolutely agony sometimes. Like I feel
Mhm.
like I've done this like for like the last decade, I feel like, and I never knew the words for it. Like honestly, I started in biology and I wanted to be a physician. I wanted to be a pathologist, and I worked at Children's Hospital, and it was like love children to death, you
Yeah.
know. It was amazing for the people that could do it, but it was the saddest job I ever had. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like I commend people who can do it, but I could not. I was an EMT in the ED, and dealing with that was not
Mhm.
me, and that was the first time alignment was a thing. I didn't want to go to med school anymore. Like my family wasn't supportive, the person I was with wasn't supportive, at that time. And I'm like, that's what it looks like. It looks like,
Yeah.
oh, everyone can say this is great for you, with your social connect, the last one, everyone's like, this is amazing. Don't
You
leave.
were one of those people. I'm
It
just kidding. I'm just joking.
was totally life changing. Selfishly, I wanted to keep it that way. But it is so hard to honor yourself when everyone else is like pushing you, the people you love the most. It does not look like a piece of cake, piece of pie. It kind of looks like honoring yourself kind of looks like betraying other people, but you really the only person that matters is you. That's what I
Yeah.
have to think. I'm like, I'm the only one in these rooms with these children. Like nobody else is there. So I got to honor myself. If they like to do it, go ahead and do it. Like at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it's your life. So I want people to be prepared. Alignment is not easy. Like
Yeah.
you sometimes won't get supported in that decision, but look at the alternative is you live a life, not your destiny.
That is such a great point. Honor yourself. I feel like so many of us are doing it for what everybody else thinks we should be doing. Right. And it's like you said, like you already knew that working in a children's hospital, like you were like, this isn't me. Even though everybody's like, but it's so good for you. And you're like, but it's not me. Like, I don't know that I can keep doing this, and it's the same thing, like Social Connect. And I just share that because I'm so excited, Khrystian, to bring it back and to literally just pull up with my bag of pretzels and my name tags and grab a beer and sit there and welcome whoever comes. Like that is it. And I think there's 30 people already coming. Like it is
Oh my
crazy.
goodness. I
Like I
love
was
that
like,
for
oh my gosh,
you.
I'd be so happy if 5 people came. And there was like 30 people that are like, I'm coming to this. I'm like, awesome.
I love that because
Let's play some cornhole while we're at it.
yeah, I mean, like you'll be surprised, in my opinion, when you just choose you, how the universe makes room for you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm super stoked, and it's actually making it so that I can do them a lot more frequently. So like I said, my whole goal was every other month do a happy hour, and in the other months do a service project, because that's another great way to connect. And anyway, I want to give some shout outs to some folks who are joining us. We got some Facebook love from Aaron Kilby, who's actually my Social Connect sponsor. He does all of our printing. So, hey, Aaron, I'm going to see him sometime in the next week. And then Royce Blake is joining us also from Arizona. And he says, my trick is always paying attention to how I feel. He also said that alignment is everything. And I can attest to that. Khrystian, you and I were having a great conversation in the green room earlier. And I kind of made this comment that everybody thinks I'm insanely busy, like way, way, way busier than I look. And I'm like, I love that you think that, but I'm really not. If anything, I've worked a lot less in the last couple of years because I figured out where my alignment is and what I can contribute and how to be more efficient. And you said it, another thing, honoring myself. What is something that's really important to me? So this morning, got up, went for a run, went and meditated in the trees, made a cup of coffee here today, like kicking off my morning with Khrystian. Like it's just a beautiful feeling to just feel like everything is working, right?
Yeah, I think the Japanese call it ikigai, where you're just in flow, like
Mm-hmm.
there's no effort. I feel like when you have to put in a lot of effort, it's actually the opposite. And there's a reason it's not like, to your point, just clicking. In my
Yeah.
opinion, like your day is so effortless because you're in your bag, like you're in your vibration,
Yeah.
and that's the best indicator to me on whether or not like your barometer aligned or not aligned. Is this a lot of effort to breathe? it's a lot of effort to talk right now. Oh, you're out of alignment, 100%. But I came up with this like great way to go over that.
Okay. Do share.
Yes, darling. So you know how like people say like after work, well, I gotta go get a drink, because the job drove him to drink,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I came up with this acronym from Pub. Like I honestly think this is the pathway to bankruptcy and burnout.
Mm-hmm.
So Pub, and it's a personal pain that causes an unproductive habit that leads to burnout or bankruptcy. And what does that look like, right? So for me, I'll speak for myself. My personal pain was being a people pleaser, right? I was groomed, I feel like, to always over deliver and like undersell myself. So in business, when you're the salesperson and everything like that, like you can't act like that because there are a lot of predators that are trying to eat your neck. And you're like, what is going on? I'm just trying to be nice to you. Okay. Like, why is this happening? And so like the first years of business, I'm like, get off my neck, but my personal pain was people pleasing. And what was the unproductive habit that led to? It led to under charging. It led to over committing. It led to scope creep out the yin yang or whatever, which led to burnout. It absolutely did. And I was like, I cannot do this, right? And so I had to fix the personal pain of being a people pleaser and be like, in order for us to have a great relationship, we need a contract, we need to stick to the contract, and you need to pay me on time. But that took me a long time to break that personal thing within myself. And I think so many business owners, they don't look in the mirror, and it's really them that's causing that pain. They want to blame the client. They want to say this, that, but you stayed with the client. Girl, first of all, you took the client. Okay. Like I had this financial advisor say this great advice to me. He was like, if there's problems in the front end, there's going to be problems in the back end. You know, when you're closing a client, if there are going to be problems in the back end, right? So walk away in the beginning, first of all. And then second of all, walk away faster. Don't blame the client for you staying for 3 years or always paying you late when you tolerated that behavior, but that requires you looking in the mirror. Like that was mine. I've seen other people be insecure, right? There's being insecurity that will build this great brand. Oh, I want to be this, that, right? You build that brand for them. They get a little bit of negative feedback from somebody that matters to them, and they collapse and they cannot hold frame. And you're like, hey, we just spent all this time doing this together. You got this. And they can't, that their inner voice is telling them they're fat, they're ugly, they're not good enough, and then don't let somebody they love say, you think, oh, it's over. It's over, and that is the unproductive habit, is self-sabotage that leads to bankruptcy, honestly, in that case, because they never put themselves out there.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of colleagues and friends that do that. They have these great ideas and they've talked themselves out of it. Or maybe somebody has told them, I don't think that's a great idea for you. Instead of just listening to their head and saying, you know what, but I'm at least going to try. Like one thing that I love to say is I'll never have regret. Why? Because I've always done what I've said I'm going to do. I don't care what the outcome is. Like it could be fantastic. It could fail flat on his ass. Like, I don't really care, but at least I know I did it and I tried it. And 100%. I think that so many people are so scared to just do it. Right. And I know my friend Sahar, you might have met her too at one of the social connects, but she said this, and it's just been echoing a lot in my head about don't overthink it, just do it. Don't overthink it, just do it. And I still really, really love that. I love telling people that you're overthinking it. It's not even going to get out the gate because you're overthinking it.
Yeah, and it dies there. And yesterday, I think he posted Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books. And I love in there because he talks just of that, where it's like people will get stuck in the planning side and not do the action. So rather than planning your podcast and be like, oh, I need to have all these this, get your reps in by doing the podcast. You must do it. You must get in front of the camera. You must mess with StreamYard. You have to do it. But people spend too much time on if I had this team and I need this equipment and this, that, and they never get to this part. So he's like, spend 80% of your time in the doing, to your point, because you'll get lost, which I have been guilty of plenty of times in the planning stage of that. I think it was like chapter 3 or 4. About that. I don't know.
Well, he talks a lot about intentional implementation. And I really like that. The other thing, this is something, so now we're like all getting into books, right? So One thing that I really liked, and he kind of equated it to smokers. You might remember this, where if you have two people who were smokers and you say, do you want to smoke? And one person says, I'm trying to quit. And the other person says, no, I don't want to smoke. I'm not a smoker.
I'm not a smoker. Yeah.
Like already knowing that you are that identity. I'm not a smoker, right? Hey, I'm a marathon runner. Like you're already grooming your mind to be like, I already am this person. And it just creates those healthy habits. You're already working toward it. So why not say you are that person?
Yeah, 100%. I love that. He says you have to change your identity, not your behavior or your what you do, like not your behavior, or it was like a triangle, and the internal was identity. But I totally believe that you have to see yourself as a successful entrepreneur before you can do it. Like it doesn't start with, oh, I'm going to make $1 million, because what happens when you don't? Right? You lose the stamina. Oh, I'm going to build a team, like you can't do that. Or, oh, I'm going to work every day. What happens when you don't? Like you're going to quit. So I am a successful CEO. Already see yourself that way, and then your identity reshapes around you to make room for that. I love that.
I love that book. I'm amazed at how many people commented on just like, yeah, oh my gosh, I read it and I love habit stacking and I love this and the identity part and so many great gems. So shout out to James Clear for writing that. Atomic Habits, that's what we're talking about right now if you are just tuning in. Thanks so much. We have some people joining us on Facebook. I love that this podcast or this live stream, this is not a podcast, but this live stream, it's just kind of a revolving door of people who are coming in, coming out, listening, maybe catching the replay later. Like, thank you so much for being here. And hey, we got a guy from California. This is my friend, Mr. Groovy, Luis Melendez. Thank you so much for being here. Straight out of Ventura. I have met Luis actually at one of the LinkedIn local Phoenix events. So thanks for being here again, my friend. And let's keep going with this topic of alignment. I know we got sidetracked, but I think you and I being both book lovers, we're like, oh, we gotta dive into this Atomic Habits book. It was so good. All right. So here's a really great hey, we've got Jennifer who's tuning in on your YouTube, Khrystian, and she has a great question or comment. She says, my misalignment takes the form of inertia. So many things I want to do and don't know where to start. So I don't do anything. All right. Okay, Jennifer. Okay, I got to get my mentoring hat on. And I know Khrystian's got to get her mentoring hat on too, because I do feel that I have so many ideas, I don't know what to do. And you just kind of end up in this analysis, like paralysis analysis mode of, I'm not sure what to move on to. And I just look at it, it's like, I was on a pod or a live stream earlier this week. And I love that it was like, take a small step, take one step, take a brave next step. So look at all of the things that you want to do and don't try to do all of them at one time. Pick one and move on it, right? Pick one and move on it and start putting some steps in place. What do you need to do next? What's a just a timeline of things that you need to be doing to start moving? Because I think that's what happens with us is we're like, I want to do it all. We can't do it all. We don't have the time to do it all. What suffers? And you mentioned this, Khrystian, your family, your health, your finances, your marriage, whatever is going to start suffering if you decide to take on too much. And I'm a perfect example of that. I had 3 businesses going at one time and I was working nonstop and I didn't have balance. That was my 30s. We'll just skip that decade entirely.
No, but you learn. So that's
you
the
learn.
most important part is that you just learn.
Yeah. The other thing too, Jennifer, I would share is like, I'm getting ready to start a new business and I actually just filed the LLC. So everything is in place. But I looked at what actually I really enjoyed as part of this business or part of this task. And then I looked at what I really don't want to do. And I looked for the right people to help me with it. And those people are other moms that were like, I want to do this with you. And I know where my lane is. I'm like, awesome, fantastic, because I don't know. I want to start this. I don't know what it's going to look like. I have big visions for it. It's like you were saying, Khrystian, you come in saying, I'm going to be successful at this. And you keep that mindset. And now we're moving in that direction and setting a plan and dedicating a day of our week to working on it, and working it together. So it doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to look at what's one thing that you want to do and then back it up. Like, look at yourself as being like, this is happening, I'm successful at this, and then figure out how you're going to get there. What are the steps you're going to need to take to get there? And do it in bite-sized chunks. Like, don't take on the whole world. Bite-sized steps, always.
I totally agree with that. And that was like great advice. I particularly like the part about finding a community of people, because I think entrepreneurship is so lonely per se, and having people that support what you're trying to do or can understand like, oh, today was a bad day, but tomorrow will be better, instead of like, oh yeah, you should have never tried. There's some people
would you honestly, okay, Khrystian, would you ever go up to someone and say that, dude, you should have never even tried?
You should have never tried.
I really slap that person.
I feel like people, this is just a cultural thing. Like, as soon as people see you lightly stumble, they're like, oh yeah, it's time to push them. As a culture, we kind of like kicking people's knees, I feel like.
Jeez.
But
okay, so I want to talk about that for a second too, because I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are listening to this or may listen to this. All right, so I have my hubby who is a City of Mesa worker. All right, so he works for the government. He clocks in, he clocks out. He has a steady paycheck. He has 2 weeks of vacation. That is not my life. And so here's what I ran into. I will tell you this: the people you think that are going to support you perhaps will not. And it's not their fault. It's that they can't see the big vision that you have. They're so stuck in, I need to see it now, and it needs to be paying the bills now, that they don't see that it's going to take some time. So I don't actually tell my husband everything that's going on in business, because I'm like, you're on a need to know basis. I will tell you when I'm get on that stage. You don't get to see all the little steps that it took me there because you're still doubting it, right? 100%. So it's just like you mentioned, Khrystian, be around a community that understands every part of you, everything you're going through, everything you will go through, and be around those people, because they will be the ones to be like, keep going. They're not going to be kicking you down when you're already down. They're going to just be like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Brush it off.
So, I know. And I just, like I said, if you already know that friends and family aren't as supportive as you would like them to be, perhaps don't tell them everything that's going on, because you don't want that to get in your head. You don't want them to judge you. You don't want them to tell you you're not good enough or you should have just quit while you're ahead. Like, what kind of ass advice is that? Sorry. Yeah, I'm on a tangent. I just got to keep rolling with it. Roll with it.
No, go girl. No, I totally agree with that 100%. I think, well, like in this book, this is the book I'm reading right now, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, but he talks about this on like, are you familiar with Ernest Shackleton at all?
I don't think so. No.
He's like some 1500 explorer, but he's like a case study on leadership. Like their boat had like capsized, endurance had capsized, and like some inhabitable place in Antarctica, right? 27 people. How are we going to keep you alive, right? Like the other day I was on a flight that was delayed an hour and it was like a riot. So I couldn't imagine being in Antarctica with 27 people and knowing like there's no way out of here for a year. And he's the captain, right? Yeah, for a whole year. But ask me if any of them died. Like, so it was his responsibility. It took them a year to like get out, but ask me if anyone died.
Did anyone die, Khrystian?
No, he kept everyone alive. He kept everyone alive in that year that they were trekking back to find, civilization again. And the key in this book that they were talking about was that he had to watch people. Like if your spirit got low, he wouldn't say like they were like oaring and some guy like just stopped oaring. And rather than him being like, whoosh, whoosh, he was like, oh, it looks like we need hot milk. And he stopped the boat and he didn't embarrass him. He was analyzing people and protecting their spirit. And honestly, I think that's the most important part of entrepreneurship is to be like Shackleton and protect the spirit like of people's businesses. That thing about depression and anxiety, if the owner goes down, if the team goes down, the company goes down. But so many people do not protect the spirit. They'd rather be like, oh, you're underperforming. Like, oh, you had a family illness or you had a family death or like whatever you want to say. It's 3 days bereavement. Are you back yet? Like you're not reading the room of people and you're killing the spirit of your company by doing that. 100%. And that was how he was able to do that. But he's like a case study on the importance of optimism being moral courage. So what your balance sheet is negative. Like, what are we doing now to change that? Like how important that is. So that thing that you're talking about on community, it's arguably the most important component of business in general, because you will have darkness. You will be in Antarctica. So how are you going to get back to how are you going to get back to Earth, or Antarctica's Earth, but wherever Antarctica is next to someone else, how are you going to get back to North America? I don't know. What's near Antarctica?
I love what you just said. And I think people who are just like tuning in, they're like, what did she say? We're going to be in Antarctica? Go back and watch the replay, because she had a really great point. But yeah, this like moral, this compassion for people, that you have to keep that moral, that spirit alive in people. And that's why community is so important. All right, Royce, he has a great comment here about, I don't care if they hate me as long as they hate me every day.
Yes, no, I love that, Royce. 10 out of 10. That's the great attitude.
Great attitude. Great attitude. And your attitude. So I told you guys that I was sick. Like the last week has just been like head cold, headaches, just body aches, all the stuff. And I, on Monday, I usually do my Monday motivational push, and I'm like, I'm not getting on camera. I feel like crap. I just want to go back to bed. But I did find a sticker that says your attitude is everything. It's a little thing that makes such a big difference. And it's so true, because I could be like, oh, I just suck and it's never going to go away and blah, blah. But having the right attitude of, I will get better. I just need to take this time and rest and relax, and I'll be fine. Like, I'm going to get better. And thank you so much to everybody who sent me well wishes, including you, Royce. Thank you. Royce told me I should be doing jumping jacks, just so you know.
Okay.
I was like, Royce, I don't think my head's going to really love that too much once I start.
You're on the pillow.
I know, right? Okay. All right. So back to our topic on alignment. So when people are out of alignment, Khrystian, how do you feel like, just give me one big tip. How do they get back to being in alignment? What are some little tips that you can share of, if you find yourself out of alignment, check yourself and do these things?
For sure. So I would take you back to my analogy on the pub, right? So personal pain, unproductive habit leading to burnout or bankruptcy. And if you go and you're an alcoholic, they send you to AA, sorry.
I'm like double A battery?
They send you to double A. No, they send you to AA. Well, in the pub here, we send you to triple A. Like, I know the car people do it, but triple A. And that is 3 A's. The first A is awareness, right? I think so much of life's harms can be solved with your own personal awareness. It's never pointing the finger there, but always here, like, so look at your own awareness. I had to look at myself on why do I keep accepting those clients, right? Like, why am I insecure? Like, for those clients that were insecure, why do I have a fear of loneliness? So I keep this business partnership that is no longer serving me, or I keep this teammate that I actually don't think is performing, because I don't want to do it alone, right? So you got to look at your own awareness, number one. Number two, the second A is adjust, and it's two-parters, and that's adjust your mindset. Are you alone? No, you're not alone. That you're fully competent. Do you really want to subsidize somebody else's life that's not performing, right? So you have to change your mindset. First of all, it starts in your mind. And then the second part is you have to adjust your behavior. And that looks like not taking late payments from a client. Like a lot of businesses that have to deal with payments all the time, oh, they're going to get you, like your Verizon bill, your rent bill. Oh, you're late. Okay, $150, $10 after that every single day. And it's not that people don't want to pay you. It's that this is just human nature, as this book says, human nature. It's given the way out, people will take it, right? Yeah. They'll pay it late. They'll pay their rent late. They'll pay their phone late. They'll pay you late. Okay. So you got to make them not do that. So change your behavior in the contract, have that in there. 100%. Don't start without the contract. And the last one, as we've been discussing, is alignment. And what alignment looks like to me is that it vibrates in your soul, that it makes you happy. One time I was working with a sales coach, and she talked about how a lot of people on your team or yourself, what's stopping you from growing is being out of alignment. She said this word, with the product. Like, do I really care about social connect? Will I actually go talk to people, right? If I was on your team and I'd be like, oh yeah, we're kind of doing this thing, you know, or you're like, oh, we're kind of doing this thing, you can come if you want. Or am I on fire for social connect? Change my life, you know, like, and I'll tell everyone in the world that it changed my life. You know, that is alignment with your product. And to your point, what you just went through is it wasn't in alignment with you, right? You were on fire for it. So you just changed the product. So many people don't just change the product, the service they're offering to be more in alignment with who they are now, even if they've evolved. So those are your 3 A's: awareness, adjust, and alignment. And that means being on fire for your service or product for me.
I ask that question a lot of my clients, Khrystian, of what lights your soul on fire. Like, I want to know, what are you so passionate about? It's that you get up in the morning, you're so excited to move into your day. And you're right. If you have lost passion for that, you hit on so many great points today. If you've lost passion, it doesn't mean that you weren't passionate at one point, right? It means that over time you've evolved, things have happened. Like you mentioned, you know, business partners, you might have been great at the start, maybe things just kind of fizzled. And now it's up to you to figure out, do we still align with each other, or is it best to go our separate ways? But I think what you said too is you can always look at that thing. And I just use Social Connect because it is such a great example of how I was in alignment at one point and then I slipped out of that passion. And now I'm like, I don't need to kill it. I just need to reimagine it. And I think that a lot of people don't take that step. They just are like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm killing it. And now you have all of these people that are like, but I loved it. And you're like, but I killed it. I didn't want to kill it. It is such a big part of me and how I've connected with so many amazing people over the years. I just needed to figure out where it was and how it aligned with where I am at now. And I think that that's what we want to share with everybody is that sit back, reflect on what you're doing. And I love the 3 A's. I love that. You know, there's awareness, there's adjust, and there's alignment. And really go through those exercises to see if what you're doing now is something you still want to be doing, or can it be tweaked to be a better fit for you and where you are in this season of your life?
100%. I love that. Yeah. And a lot of times the coal mine and the canary is your feelings. I feel disappointed. I feel resentment. I feel taken advantage of, you know, like, and start there. And that'll lead you to your the first breadcrumb on what led you down this horrible path. Or whatever. It's always check in with your feelings. 100%. That overwhelmed, that I don't get time to like hang out with people or what have you, and then just remove that, and it can be that easy. And look, and then it's all like improved for who you are now.
Yeah. I mean, people, we don't just wake up one day and we're the same person that we were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, even last year. Like this is an opportunity for you to wake up and realize what you want right now. And it's okay. Like I've changed direction so many times, Khrystian, I can't even count. But I'm much better for it. I'm much better for it. And I think a lot of people are too. Like you don't have to stick with the same old and burn yourself out or find yourself in moral bankruptcy. You know, you don't need to do any of those things. You need to get back to alignment. And I think Khrystian is the perfect person to help you with that. So Khrystian, all right, in the time we have, tell us what you're working on. How do people find you? And I know you have a special offer that they can reach out to you for. So take it away.
Yeah. So I used to do services and I pivoted to products because it's more in my alignment. So at statusquobreaker.com, you can find a assortment of marketing products. But more importantly than that, I would love to offer deep listening. So there is a Buddhist monk. His name was Thich Nhat Hanh, and he was around the time of MLK, right? They marched together, and he believed in deep listening being healing for the soul. Like a lot of times we don't listen to each other, and in finding alignment, you need someone to bounce things off of, right? So I want to offer my email. I had a different offer that was marketing related, but I really want to like connect with people that don't feel that they have someone to like talk this through with.
Yeah.
So you can email me and I'd be happy to just listen to where you are and see if we could get you back into alignment. Like literally, I think that's what's missing across 98% of business owners, let me be honest, in their product or their company. And before you start adding people to your company or selling more, pause and realign, pause and realign. And for me, I only work with business owners who are not in business, but they're in love with what they do, right? They're in an assignment. And when you're in assignment, you are absolutely always in alignment. So not if you're in business, but if you're in love, like in a calling for what you do, I would love to talk to you more, and shoot me an email. Let's hop on a call and get back into alignment.
Great. I love that. I know I can send some people your way. Khrystian, you also need to jump into socialconnect.world, my dear, and introduce yourself, because there are some folks in there that I really think could use your service, honestly. I think there's some folks that are just kind of trying to figure themselves out, and you can help them with that. So thank you so much, Khrystian, for being on with me today. And thanks to everybody who tuned in live off of Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I think we had all three joining us, so that's always fun. And yes, thank you again for joining us on Tisha Talks Live. The show airs every Friday unless I'm on vacation or just don't want to do it. Let's just put it that way. But for the most part, we've got guests booked up until April, so you will see me back on a Friday. And again, you can reach out to Khrystian. Khrystian, tell us, you sent your email, but where can people find you? What platform do you hang out on most?
Oh, LinkedIn for sure.
LinkedIn.
Wait, are you on LinkedIn logo? No, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. Your LinkedIn local.
Yes. Lastly, for LinkedIn local, we have an event on February 6th from 4:30 to 6:30 in Tempe at the Red Devil, and we do networking differently. We don't do a bunch of business cards and like, oh, buy my service. It's connection and collaborative. So you're coming there for collaborations. If it's social media, if it's financial, like, yes, you can find clients, but you can also find collaborators. So we invite you to come February 6th. You can find us at LinkedIn Local East Valley, Phoenix. Hope to see you there.
Or at love it.
Connect.
Yes, and I will be there. I'll be there to support you and Bruce and Aaron, and at LinkedIn Local Tempe, right? Is it Tempe or Phoenix? What do you call it?
It's new. It's East Valley, Phoenix.
East Valley, Phoenix. LinkedIn Local East Valley, Phoenix. So it's coming up in Tempe again, February 6th, 4:30 to 6:30. I know you can find tickets, Khrystian. You'll probably throw the link underneath this. And then, yeah, we'd love to see you if you're in the area. And let me see, I've got some comments coming through. Another person here on YouTube joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate having you here. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, this was such a hot topic and I'm so grateful. So Khrystian was actually supposed to be my very first guest and had to make an emergency trip to go visit her mother earlier this year. And I'm so grateful that we were able to book her into January and end January strong and talk about how you can get in alignment. And if you really are struggling with this, then I really recommend that you hit up Khrystian. She's put her email in there as well. So go ahead and reach out to her and schedule a session with her, because I'm telling you, I mean, as someone who has been out of alignment for so many years and finally got into alignment, it is like gold. It really is. It has changed everything. And, for me, like, I was thinking about the last couple of words, Khrystian, that I had for my word of the year. And I'm very big into the word of the year. And the year before that was abundance. So I had two powerful words. I had abundance, just like, the A words, abundance, alignment. And then this year is simplicity. So I feel like I'm moving in that direction and it feels really, really good. So
I love that. And you're taking your old words with you.
I am. I never forget the old words. And even one of the words I had was selfish back in 2018. And it really, really did serve me well. It taught me how to have boundaries and to put myself first, just like you said, honor yourself. Stop people pleasing, because I did a whole lot of that too when I was younger and in these businesses. And you've got to figure out you first before you can actually be, effective for other people too. And saying no and having those boundaries is really key. So
100% agree with that. And I hope the chat takes that advice and finds their alignment anywhere, in personally or professionally. I support you and I look forward to hearing your alignment stories.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks so much, Khrystian. Thanks everybody for tuning in live. We'll see you back on another Tisha Talks Live coming up. And have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe, stay happy, and keep smiling. We'll see ya.
See you Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.